now open the Minturn Town Council meeting for December 17th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Tom here. Brian here.
Lynn here.
Gusty here.
Earl here, and Katie had work issues that she's not gonna be able to make it tonight, so. All right, would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right. Next order of business is approval of the consent agenda. Is there anyone that wants to pull any item within that agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda to present it.
I'll second it.
Motion by Gusty, second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we have approval of the regular agenda. Do we have any change to be made?
I do not.
Okay. Have a motion?
The only thing I want to say about the agenda is that I would like to make some comments about the Highlands parcel. Maybe in connection with the manager's report.
Okay, or you can do it at the council comments as well if you like.
Council comments come when?
Comes up after public comment.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'll do it then.
Okay, do we have a motion on the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular agenda that's presented.
I'll second it.
Motion by Gusty, second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, next, is there any board member that has a conflict of interest on any on any issue on the agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll go on to public comment. This is a portion of the meeting where all we ask is you're welcome to address the board on any issue that's not on the agenda. You'll have time to speak to another. If it's on the agenda, then you can just speak to that issue when it comes up.
I didn't see the agenda, but hopefully it's not on the agenda.
Okay, we'll get started. We'll interrupt if we
All right.
need to. Okay, please state your name.
Yeah, Sasha Grow, 1108 Main Street. I'm on the south side of town, and I was just asking about the sidewalk project. I haven't heard much about it lately. And I try to listen as much as I can, but I'm sure you guys talked about it, but I was just trying to figure out what's going on with that. I know it's delayed. So I just was looking for news on that because it's going to affect our part of town.
Okay, yeah, we usually don't comment, but if you hang in, I think we're going to be talking about that later.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
So
can I just say two things about it, or should I wait till
go
then?
ahead.
I know it's stopping right at my house, and if it could go another 100 yards or go to the bus stop, that all the public, there's 9 kids that get picked up by the bus there. If it could go another 100 yards, it'd go right to the bus stop. And I know it's a money thing, but I think CDOT should be concerned about the safety of our kids. And especially in the wintertime, it's pretty dangerous for us to walk along the highway to go to the bus stop. Like I'll try to plow that part of the road so they have a way to walk. And actually, the plow drivers last week did a great job with that. They tried to move that snow over so we could walk to the bus stop. It's really important that that's happened because, you know, that part of town, people are going really fast, obviously. So if we could have a little buffer there so we could walk along the road and not in the road when there's a lot of snow, that'd be awesome. And that sidewalk's going to facilitate that one day. So if there's a way we can go another 100 yards to the bus stop, that'd be pretty, or maybe move the bus stop down. But with Belden Place coming in, there's going to be more kids, hopefully. We got Mountain Street there, and there's a bunch of kids that come off that. So there's about 9 kids taking that bus. So it's pretty important to us. So if there's something we can do as a community to promote that for CDOT, I mean, I'll do whatever I can. That's really important to us. Any more talk of the photo radar at all? Because I know it's working really well in Vail, and people go by our house so fast right now. It's just ridiculous, especially semi trucks. And I know it's supposed to be limited with the bridge, but we're still getting all those drill casing semi trucks coming through, and they're blowing by at midnight, but they're going like 50 miles an hour through there with their Jake brakes going. And it seems like it's something we can control, or the police can control. And what else I have? I know, and I was listening to you guys 2 weeks ago. I think you're talking about shoveling and getting the roads ready for the winter. there's a bunch of us in town that would love to help volunteer. So maybe if you guys could do like a task list for local people on the website, like, hey, we need this done. We need this done. Maybe put on the website, and some of us from town would like to go do that as a volunteer group.
Mhm.
I think that'd be a great way to get some of us involved that don't have enough time to participate in town council like you guys do. Because what you guys do is great, but some of us like to help out as much as we can. So if there's a task list for some volunteer, like random tasks, like maybe shoveling sidewalks or clearing something or clearing some trees somewhere, I mean, I'm sure a lot of us would get together and do that.
Yeah, that's great, because we're always looking for volunteers. I'm not on the Mentor Community Fund board anymore, but they are too.
Yeah,
They're looking like for captains in neighborhoods, so that when they want to do some work.
absolutely. Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
Diana Sure is the director of that.
Okay.
And I would point you to her.
Yep.
They have a website you can go to.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, mentorcommunityfund.org.
Okay.
So go on that, look around on
Yeah.
that, and you should have a contact information there. Maybe you can
Yeah.
call in and
Yeah.
do that, because
Yeah.
that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we had something on our website that said, if you want to volunteer, there you click on the link and it takes you to that. Or if you had a bunch of tasks, it doesn't matter what it is, somebody might do something. At least give it out there.
Seems to me like it would also be a good idea for the town to establish a volunteer list.
Sure.
And I think that would be a great idea. And
Yeah,
people could sign up for different things, and the town could publicize that.
Yeah.
Not only for keeping sidewalks clear, but also for being on committees that are working on different issues that
Yeah, absolutely.
are involved. I think that would be a great thing to do. On the issue of I don't know, the 100 yards, my fear is it's probably way beyond our means.
Oh, absolutely. It's probably like $3 million.
But what I've seen on how much it costs per foot or whatever right now. But I think it's a great idea for us to contact CDOT and talk to them about either coming up with the money for that or moving the bus stop.
Yeah.
Is it a core transit stop too? Is it the share?
No.
It's
No.
not, so it's not the one.
It's just just bus stop. And I sent Michelle videos a couple years ago, I guess, last year, of the kids walking in the middle of the street to get the bus when there's a lot of snow. It's just really dangerous, I mean, people from Leadville, it's the same time when people from Leadville are coming down. So it's just, massive amount of people going two different ways. So it's scary, honestly. So we're doing our best to shovel and plow as much as we can, but if we could get some help with the plow when it's a big snow day, just to move that snow over so there's a walkway for the kids, that'd be great.
I think we could definitely work
Yeah.
on that. We'll have Rock and talk to Mike and see if we can do that. Since we already operate my own rule, I'll just go ahead and say, as far as the delay on the sidewalk, it was Excel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they had to move their line, and they took their time too, to where it was too
Absolutely.
late to go in and do the work. So we're gonna get that going first as soon as the spring.
Okay.
Weather.
That's what I was just wondering, if it's gonna happen in the spring again.
Okay.
Yeah, and and that's, so that bus stop, so you guys know, is right in the barber shop parking lot. That's where the school bus picks kids up.
Okay.
So that's where it'd be nice to get snow pushed there at least, right?
Okay.
And then I just remember this, if there's a way we can get a sheet of ice, and I'm sure all us volunteers, Minturn will take care of it. If there's a place somewhere up by the park or one of those parking lots up there where we can maybe make some ice for hockey, since there's no hockey in Vail anymore. And Eagle's like the closest. We used to have a little bit of ice at the school. It doesn't seem like that's happening anymore. It'd be a great little community activity. All we need is water, really.
Yeah, well, we have to get that plugged into the planning and organization to make sure we determine it's something that can be done without too much expense, or if there's enough public outcry for it, then we'll kind of look at what we can do.
Yeah, it'd be a great community event. It'd be good for the kids in town.
I think the public would love it,
Yeah.
and not just for hockey.
Yeah.
But for recreational
Oh
skating.
yeah, sorry, skating, not just hockey. It's probably, yeah. But even at the bike park in the parking lot there, it's flat, be easy. I'm sure there's water up there somewhere.
Can't do the bike park.
No.
Yeah, that can get deteriorated really fast if it's during the winter,
Yeah,
if there's activity on it.
right.
I mean, we've got some flat space out there,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, the staging area where you guys are staging on the pipe for the sidewalk project. So I don't know, something flat, doesn't have to be very big, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we'd all really enjoy, and I'm sure the community would take care of it. Wouldn't be a big burden on
And we have to look at water and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've got irrigation water, but yeah, we'll have to run through our processes and see what we can do.
awesome.
And what was your address?
1108 Main Street,
1108. Okay.
right across from Martin Creek.
Across from where?
Martin Creek.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for
When
coming.
is that on the agenda for the saddle?
It's under this manager. You got managers.
Yeah, I could address that more
Okay,
in detail.
Okay. Okay, so do we have anybody else online wanting to talk to us? Cindy?
No one online.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we'll move on to council and committee reports. Lynn, do you want to start?
This is council comment time. Okay, yeah, I don't have any, committee reports, this week. But I would like to talk about the Highlands, parcel. I'm really concerned that we didn't get more public input, prior to signing the contract for the sale of that parcel. But what I think we should do at this point is to set up a citizens committee. That can be one of those volunteer committees on the volunteer list. Or to talk about zoning or planning for zoning for these parcels of land. Unfortunately, the way the contract is listed, is drafted, there are almost no restrictions at all in terms of the use of that of those parcels, 2 parcels. And I know that the council intended that only 1 or 2 people should own them. And I think that we also, or most of us, want there to be some significant conservation or preservation going on with respect to those parcels as well. And we thought we could handle that in the zoning, which is a requirement before the parcels of land can be legally sold. But I think there are lots of people in this town who probably are interested in having some input as to what kind of conservation, what kind of preservation, and what kind of other zoning considerations are appropriate for these 2 parcels, because they are very much important pieces of land for the town, and very much they've been called legacy property, and they are our legacy, and we want to be very, very careful about what we do with them. Although we also clearly need income to help us with the water treatment plant. So that's what I would like to propose.
And when last we were discussing this, and we were talking about, public notice and all that, and we had kind of gone through that. Yeah, I mean, it's been out there for a long time, but that said, we are going to be zoning it, but what we decided to hold back on, and Mike's suggestion was, when we have a candidate or someone ready to sign a contract on the property, we would negotiate the zoning on it. And so also, the idea of having one owner for one parcel and another owner for the other parcel, or one owner for both parcels. And that's gonna be one family or whatever. If they build a home up there. That's gonna be a very small part of the two parcels. And the idea is why we're going that direction. There's no way, we're gonna there's not even enough. There's not enough infrastructure to have development, subdivision, I'll put it up there. It's just not gonna happen. So what we had decided on, I thought moving forward was when we get the candidate coming in and he's interested, and then we can just say, listen, we want this to be a wildlife parcel. CDW stated that, with a ranch house, that's one of the lesser impacts that can happen, and we can talk about how he wants to do his thing. And then we can negotiate it and move forward. We'll be zoning. But we don't want to spend time with staff trying to zone it before we get there. We may never be able to sell it that way. May not be able to sell it for what we want. But if we do get a candidate who wants to buy it, then we zone it to fit his needs, but also to fit our needs as far as leaving as much of that land to open space with fencing is a key ingredient to that, especially along the southern, eastern border of the highlands, because if it's just open space, then people are going to go hiking all over the place up there, and that's not a good thing for a wildlife either. So,
When we ever do get to that point, we can also send out a newsletter to everybody that's on the email list and let them know that, we're looking at zoning, attend the planning and zoning meeting first and attend the council meeting. And, at that time, I guess fear I have is we put a lot into zoning and zone it and get it ready to sell, and then open space comes in and makes us an offer that's acceptable by us. We wasted all that time zoning it.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
But as far as if we get a good offer from the conservation folks before we sell it, I think that's in the contract.
It is. They get it
So
better rate.
Yeah.
I know that is all our intent at this time, but a lot can change over time. And I think there are a number of residents in town that are very uncomfortable with how we've set up this deal today. And it seems to me that this is an issue that the citizens may want to be more involved with. And it won't necessarily involve more planning time, and will, in any event, if we have a committee and we have all these issues thought out a little bit better, with the contribution of residents, Minturn residents, I don't see a huge downside for this. And I think there's a lot of upside in not having to do hurry up zoning down the road when there's a lot of pressure on us. I'm not saying that we need to finalize the zoning. I'm just saying we need to start that planning process. And that's appropriate process for the citizens to be involved with.
Well, we've gone through this, like I say, for 2 years trying to figure out what we're going to do with the highlands, and we were hoping that the conservation folks could pony up enough money to make it work for us. As far as I know, they weren't coming very close to what we need, and this is something we've talked about time and time again. To come up with a citizen committee when everything is set in stone, and we've already moved forward by the majority of the to bring this up now when we're already set to go with moving forward is, to me, just, this is refusing to act. And I think that it's important that we do act. But, if I haven't heard from anybody but Gussie and you, Lynn, if there's others that are having doubts about this thing, we need to know. But the last time we were all on the same page, I thought. So
I hadn't had a chance to read the real estate contract at that time. And let me just say this, I don't think anything is set in stone, and I think that's the problem. And I also don't see how having this committee would impede going forward with the contract and trying to find interested buyers. We used to have a lot, not too many years ago, a lot of citizens committees on important issues to the town. And this is an important issue to the town. And now we don't have any citizens committees, and I think that's a mistake, and I think there should be one set up on this issue.
What citizen committees have we had in the past? We've had the master plan committees. We have the design guideline committee. Those are all done. I don't recall any other citizen committees. But we do always try to be transparent and let everybody knows what's going on. And, you know, and people could be right here in front of us during public comment, and we could have a discussion if they have concerns. If they want to have we could put it on an agenda whenever, in January, February, whatever. But
that would be good. If we put it as an agenda item in January, that would be great idea.
I just don't want to slow us down on listing it until after that.
It
We do
should
not
not
want
be
to-
the listing
Yeah.
process.
the
That
reason
should go
we're
forward
the
at
reason
the
we're in
same
the
time.
fix now is because everyone was fighting for slow sand filters, and $500,000 later, we finally got over that and moved forward. So I am not going to really support, and I'm just one of 7, but I'm not going to support anything that can even possibly slow us down. It's just too important to our citizens. And also, I think most citizens would agree that if we can do a limited impact sale of the Highlands and get enough money to where they're not going to be spending an extra $100 a month on water just to service the debt, I can guarantee you most people are going to say, please do.
I'm not saying we shouldn't move ahead with the listing. All I'm saying is we should be getting citizen input on this. And if we have a hearing for this in January, I think that would be an excellent idea. And not a hearing, but I put it on the agenda as an item so people have notice.
I think we're tracking back down trails we've already walked where you seem to be forgetting something. I have no problem with citizens being here for every public hearing. The issue is all the information that needs to be provided. And as we talked about before, we do not know all the options that are available to us at this point until such time as we put it out there. If conservation comes back, throws a number out there that's amenable, that reduces debt, super. Nobody has said anything is set in stone. All we've asked in regards to the real estate piece, put it out there. Let's see what we get. For those citizens to sit there, as we talked about before, you have to disclose everything to them. That means this is the amount of money we're going to get. If you choose to go down this road, this, as Earl just said, is what it's going to cost you for the next 30 years on your water bill. Thumbs up or thumbs down on that, one way or another. Those are all things that are going to be put to the citizens, period, through the public hearing process that Mike already talked about. I'm not opposed to them being there in January. The problem is we're not going to have all the information then. Happily hear everybody's grievances. I've gotten emails. You've gotten emails. We're all tracking that. No problem. Just remember, the whole point of where we are and where we're trying to go is to get as much information as possible to inform the public so they are fully aware of what we're looking at as we move forward with debt, the WTP, and the sale or conservation of the Highlands parcels. That's it. So I don't see the point of continuing to go down this road. Absolutely. Put it on the agenda. Just remember, in January, we are not going to have all the information.
That might be a good idea, because we will have the information in February. We're assuming we're going to have that information. Would you say it's February?
I mean, what information are we talking about?
The financing.
We have the financing piece, but I think one of the problems and why we ended up going this direction in the first place, or the council did, is there's a lot of disagreement about the market value of the Highlands. And because there's so much disagreement about the market value, it's hard to move forward as far as making a decision. Because, I think one of the things that I heard from Open Space in the land trust was like, well, we want a number. But I think it's hard for us to give them a number because if we're thinking, okay, somebody would buy it as a ranch lot for this number, you know what I mean? It's like we couldn't really agree on numbers. And so that's not something we'll have in February unless there's somebody that makes an offer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can provide the market data that we know, we can provide comps that, some of them we didn't love. So, I mean, we'll have more financing data. I won't have a lot to inform you as to the value of the parcel because it's unusual.
Yeah, I was thinking of just understanding how much needs to be financed, and we've got some really good numbers just on this packet right here, as far as the impact on people's lives, as far as their financial situation, being able to live in this town, because there's a lot of people that cannot afford what that is. And I don't want to be kicking people out of town because they can't afford it.
I'm not talking about
Well,
a committee about the sale. I'm not talking about delegating whether we should sell it or not. I'm simply saying that we set up an advisory committee to deal with what type of zoning would be appropriate down the road in the event that we have an interested buyer. That's all. That's a very limited thing.
well, we're talking, we've all been talking about the fact that, okay, we're assuming maybe there'll be two buyers, one for each parcel, that they want to live in a house up there, right? A single residential complex, if they're, want to have a barn or horses or whatever up at the top. But that's going to be like 2 acres out of, what is it, 35 on one end and 32 on the other. Or it might end up just being one ranch complex up there. So that's zoning, right? We put in the contract that it has to be, fencing at the bottom to keep people from getting up into that area.
We did not include that.
So forth.
That did not get included in the listing agreement. That was voted down by the council.
There are no restrictions at all in the listing agreement. They could put, if they could get the zoning for it down the road, they could put 100 homes up there. They could build a development up there.
No,
They could.
Not without our permission.
That's part of the zoning process. That's just not.
What I'm saying is it's all pushed back to the zoning process. And we should start thinking about that and getting, involving people who are interested in that subject and might have some expertise in.
Can we just put it on the January agenda? Put it out there as people that are interested in participating in some process and move on, please.
Yes, that's all I'm asking.
Let's just
Let me
Have
clarify.
an action item in January.
Let me clarify. Nobody's going to be doing any zoning. Our staff will be doing zoning. You understand? Citizens can't do
We're
that.
zoning it. I'm saying an advisory committee.
Okay. I tell you what, why don't you go ahead and do that and just be out there, because I don't know what y'all could come up with that would be something that our planning commission needs to go back and work on and change it as needed. But what we're saying was that we don't know exactly what we're zoning, but we need to talk to the people, our clientele that might be interested in that property. It might be a lot less than what y'all could come up with. It might be whatever it is. If council decides that that person is not gonna do what we want them to, too bad. But there's not going to be any development going on about the single residences and one on each parcel, and a road to get there. So I don't know why you're wanting to zone a bunch of trees. That's all. So, anyway,
I'm simply requesting that we have
okay, we don't
an
need to,
agenda item in January about whether or not to establish a citizens committee on zoning issues related to the sale of the Highlands parcel.
So I need to step in here.
please.
I have never heard of a zoning advisory committee. The town takes public comment in one of three ways. We can establish, like we have done in the past, some work sessions where all the public can come and everybody can make comments, and those comments can be synthesized and put into information that is then used by the staff to develop zoning. That is a very standard
Sessions
thing.
would be great.
Then there will be a public hearing in front of the planning commission, and then there will be 2 public hearings in front of the council. Those are all opportunities for the citizenry to interact, but I am unaware of any situations where there is kind of some quasi-appointed advisory board to determine or to propose a zoning situation. So I think if what we're looking to do is to get public input on the Highlands and how it might develop, instruct staff to set up a work session.
That would be perfect.
Okay, let's look at the future meeting topics in January.
I think either January meeting is workable.
Okay. Let's just put that as a discussion item.
It can be a discussion item, but you need to talk with Scott and Madison about what their bandwidth is, because to have an effective workshop, they're going to have to do some work. And so you can't just say we're going to have the second meeting in January without talking to Scott and Madison about whether that is a reasonable time frame to prepare for that and have meaningful citizen involvement.
I don't suggest we do it in January at all. What should be on the agenda item in January is a discussion for the public to be educated, essentially to relay what you just said. The process going forward is going to be a working group. It's going to be a public hearing at P&Z. It's going to be 2 public hearings at town council. So by all means, all you interested residents, when the working group comes around, and will be announced at the appropriate time based on the planning department's ability to hold one, that will, by the way, will also include additional information that, as we've already stated, we don't have. Please participate. But I don't suggest, again, we rush and in any way, shape, or form have expectation of having a working group in essentially 4 weeks.
I'm okay if we extend it beyond January. I'm okay if we don't have an advisory committee, but we have a work session. I just feel there needs to be input from people in town on this issue. And we need to set up some kind of vehicle so that they can have this input without waiting years and years until this property actually goes under contract.
Scott Madison.
I mean, Scott and Madison do not have capacity to do a lot of groundwork on this. And the only thing that I would just say, I don't care what our outcome is, but just as, you know, somebody who's worked as a planner, and that's what I did before this, I think it's always frustrating to go to the public and ask for feedback when there's not a clear directive of like what we're trying to accomplish, because it's just this open thing. So it's like, I guess I'd be more, it would be easier for us if we want to have a meeting about explaining everything we've done thus far, why we ended up where we were, like where we are now, and then just getting some feedback as far as if people have concerns about certain things, so that we can just air that out and we could know as we move forward. But
we could also talk about the issues in which there needs to be a directive. I mean, one issue is how many, buildings can be put on that property.
No, this is part of the zoning process. We are getting in the weeds again. There is a process. Let's do the process. You are jumping right to zoning. Again, let's just talk about where we're at. Let them know the process, specifically the working group. We don't need to sit there and talk about the buildings in January. We need to set up the process and implement it. And they will have an opportunity to talk about all the buildings, all the fencing, all of it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. I got it. I am absolutely on board with all the residents being in any way, shape, or form intricately involved with this process. They should be. There is a process. Let's just execute it.
It all have to go through planning and zoning. And then they move on their recommendations to the council. And then the council will approve, disapprove, or amend. That's our process. And it's nice and organized. And over the time getting that going, you know, the owner's gonna, let's say we go with zoning, we spend a lot of staff time and all of that to get it just the way we want it. Then we get an owner that says, well, no, I want this over here and this over here, and I'm going to be spending good $8 million on this parcel, and I like to design it the way I want. So let's just slow down and Tom, thank you very much. We have to go our processes. But if there's four
That's not
people.
that's not what I'm talking about, Earl. I'm not talking about, detailed, that kind of detail. I'm just talking about opening a forum so people can have some input, because we didn't give them any input. We didn't allow them to have any input before we signed this contract. And I'm saying now's the chance for us. We can still do that.
They could have come to the meeting though and given us input too, because we did have it on the agenda.
I don't think they understood that it was going to be listed for sale, the way that it was.
Again, this is where the working group.
Represented in the Vale Daily, and the way following what was in the contract, and it got a lot of people upset. So that's all I'm saying.
That's where the working group comes in. They will have more than enough opportunity, as long as we want to go with it, to do exactly what you're asking. You were just in agreement that the working group is an excellent route to do that. So let's just agree to agree in January, nothing more than directive to say, just as Rob spelled out, if we want to put an FYI to get everybody up to speed, this is what has occurred. This is the process moving forward. We expect, as we're just commenting, and Gus, you just noted, it's been on there. So there's no doubt in anybody's mind, they have various events that are coming up, how important those are, that you attend and participate. Not fire emails off after the fact, participate, please. That's it. That's as far as we need to go at that point, and then process ensues.
Can we move on?
We're still in council comment at this point. Can we roll?
Yeah.
So moving on, does anyone else have any committee reports or comments?
I would like to comment on the public comment earlier on one thing that I think everybody's in agreement with at the north and south end of town, that our Jake break signs are utterly worthless. My vision for a pilot is 2020. It's gotten a little worse nowadays. I can't read that thing moving at 35 miles an hour, and sure as hell a trucker in the middle of the night doesn't see it. So we need to do something in regards to specifying our policy in town. I think that's a signage thing we can deal with sooner than the infinite glacial process of dealing with CDOT.
Glacial improve thinking is progress.
Sure.
See that.
No. And the only other comment with the town manager report, I just want to throw a huge kudos out to Mike and the guys. They've been hitting it out of the park. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Mike puts together a very comprehensive weekly report, and that's kind of a condensed version. And I haven't included them thus far, and I've been trying to get it. And so this is the first one. That's why there's like 3 weeks in there. But yeah, he's really good at documenting what's going on out there.
Love it.
I just had a super hard. I had a comment on, I don't think this is, well, correct me if I'm wrong, because we have an agenda item for a continuance out at Malloy, but there's just hearing through the grapevine that they served eviction notices to the folks in the mobile homes out there. And I don't know if the town or anyone has, and I have no idea what their windows are, their plans are, or whatever, but if there's any way the town can lend a helping hand to those folks who are probably a year out from maybe getting evicted, or if that's not the case, I don't know. We should be trying to look, because that's a lot of town people out there. And it would be good to find temporary places or investigate ways to connect them to potential housing options or whatever.
Are you talking
That's true.
about Malloy Park?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
We probably need to have a chat with Kerry Banks and the rest of them that are out there to get a better understanding of exactly what the school district's doing in regards to displacement for build out and et cetera, whether they're offering them an alternative housing or not. Obviously, we just need to get more details.
Yeah, and if they haven't said anything to us, or I don't know,
Yeah.
it seems like.
I know they were negotiating with it for a long time.
Okay.
I just don't know what they ended up with.
I mean, we've run into this problem time and time again, for everything from speed bumps to power lines and power outages, everything else. Inevitably, the town has to weigh in because the school district facility side is not very responsive, and they are our constituents. So yeah, absolutely, we'll stick our nose in their business.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Chris.
Just wanted to remind everybody that Colorado Give Day is still open, even though it passed the official day. It's open all the way through December. I want to give a high five access media a shout out that they're a little short on their funding. That was the goal for this year for donations. So if anybody can find it in their heart and donate to High Five Access Media through Colorado Gives, it'd be greatly appreciated. We would be seeing this tonight if it wasn't for them. So thank you. And I'd like to just say happy holidays to everybody out there.
Thank you, Gussie. Yeah, I think we're set.
What he said.
Well, there you go. Okay, so next item is our staff reports.
On the sidewalk project, one of the primary delay, and I think it was discussed, was the fact that the natural gas line that serves residents in the whole town has to be relocated several feet. And there was complexity there that I don't think was understood and fully communicated over the summer as we got the contractor under contract. So that was a substantial delay. We're working with Excel to be one of the first things that starts work. And we've told Excel that we'd be willing to be flexible on their work moratorium to get it started as soon as would be possible in the spring. The key thing has been that the town is going to have to figure out, and we're negotiating right now with the contractor through our construction manager, Roxol, the remobilization of the contractor, which is coming with increased costs. And so we're working with the town engineer to verify the latest proposal they sent us last week for additional costs against the CDOT standards and specs. And as soon as we kind of sorted through that, we can continue working with them to minimize that cost impact to the town. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have a better picture in January. We'll come to you and say, look, this is where we're at. What would you like to do? As far as extending the sidewalk further, I don't, that's definitely not something we can consider as part of the scope. As you know, we reduced the length to meet this project budget, which was kind of limiting because it's funded through a, CDOT Revitalizing Main Streets grant, I think. But what we could do and what we could look at as we get through this project is if it's a minor extension, we could look at our ability to do that in-house. The town has before done some sidewalk construction and repair. We have the forms and everything to do sidewalks. So if it's a minor extension, we could work with Jeff and maybe have Public Works work on that with capacity and time. We could probably get a good deal on concrete mix that's just passing through. I know the town used to do that years ago. So I think that would probably be our best option to getting a small extension done at a much lower cost than this work.
Something to note, I also just found on Google, there's something called the CDOT Safe Routes to School grant. And apparently they give away $13 million a year in like school bus stop safety infrastructures and things like that. And I don't know, it might be something to look at.
Yeah, it's just one of the problems with like if it was a town right away, it would be so much faster and easier for us to do this. And so it's a CDOT right away. So everything's got to go through their process, and then we have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on engineering for, you know, a 5-foot strip of concrete. But we'll look at that. Take a look at that. And we could reach out to the school district too about, is there a way we can move this stop? And then we can also talk to the public works team about the snow removal for the stop. The thing about school district stops is that's tough is like, they're usually like an address. So it's not like a, you know, core transit stop. So if the team knows that that's where the kids line up, then it shouldn't be a problem making sure it's clear.
Yeah, because either way, if we move it north, you still got kids coming out of Mountain Drive, et cetera. So either way, it's gonna have to be a combination of all that until such time as a long-term solution, knowing full well. Building will be in place and that'll be part of their build out anyways.
The staff is, to follow up on another item from the public comment, the staff has been working internally on the speed camera, and not from the sense of us trying to do that or push that through or anything, but I know that the issues with Main Street are longstanding, and I know that they were going to come up. So I was talking to Kevin Rendy, code enforcement, last week, and I said, Kevin, why don't you get the data? Because as part of the CDOT program, CDOT's the one that approves the cameras, even whether they're on CDOT right away or not. It's supposed to go through the CDOT program. That's the one that Avon and Vail just went through. You have to meet some certain criteria. So you have to have 3 years of crash data, 3 years of speeding data. And we've got the crash data, all that for Minturn Road and also for Main Street. Right now we're working on the speed data. I think Kevin put up, we do have a mobile speed counter, and Kevin put that up yesterday on Main. So we can start kind of seeing where are we at to see if it would be eligible if the council decides that you want to do that. I was just trying to get ahead of it because I'm like, this is going to come up at some point and people are going to go, hey, is it eligible? And we can look, because Gypsum they looked at 3 spots in town, but they didn't meet the eligibility requirements for the amount of vehicles traveling in excess of speed.
Didn't we all hear a presentation, like my memories, we heard a presentation and we all gave like a thumbs up to investigate. Like,
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
this was before you were here. So
Oh,
like,
okay. Well, if you're supportive, then we
whatever
can
happened.
continue.
I was probably the only one not supportive of it, because I know I mentioned I didn't want to be known for a town with a speed trap.
But now all the other ones are doing it. I mean, pretty like they put one in Avon right by where daycare is, and it's like noticeable how everyone is not like you get the same daycare. It's like people are not, and people are.
I know it slows them down, but you also get people complaining too. I've seen the nasty comments on Facebook about it, and there's a lot of people it's not happy about. I understand got to slow traffic down, but I just don't want to have it in the wrong spot that we keep people from coming into town because Minturn's known as a speed trap.
Well, I mean, the reality is coming from south to north, it's necessary. I would go one step further and say that 35 sign plus the digital counter needs to slide north to compensate for Boneyard and the Forest Service property as a legitimate marker to get a buffer by the time they hit Belden and the residents on the east side of the road as well. I mean, I hear you, but the fact of the matter is I come from Malloy every day and the Leadville crowd is hauling the mail every time. The 35 sign is where they start maybe to slow down as opposed to be at 35 when they need to be there. So
Scott used to park in the mornings whenever he could. Officer Peterson, I don't know, he started it. He would park as many mornings as he could on that side and follow the school bus. And so that when and I don't know if Eagle County Sheriff's Office, they've had a lot of personnel turnover. I don't know if that's like on their list to do, but I heard a lot of awesome feedback from parents that whenever he did that.
Peterson was really trying to help. I mean, he even showed up at the hearing.
Yeah,
we were talking about it. He said, yeah, well, let's let you know this. We usually give a 5 mile/hour grace, but if you want it to be 2 miles an hour, we'll do that too, whatever. But the other problem is we can't get CDOT to lower the 45 mile an hour on the south end. I mean, that's, and if you're in an 18-wheeler and he's not speeding and he's going 45 miles per hour, that is a very fast speed. If you're walking, if you're 5 feet off the road, walking on the side of the road, that is scary stuff. You know,
Going 54, not, yeah, he's going 9 miles over, yeah.
I talked with Cindy about this a little bit, and because I know the town explored it in the past, when you discussed it. And there are some other issues that we would have. And the one is that we don't have our own police department, and a police officer has to sign off on the citations that are issued by the camera. So that's something that we would have to talk with the sheriff's department about before we move forward. I think just to keep it productive, we'll look at the data and we'll bring that back to you, and we'll just tell you, look, it could be, it's eligible or it's not eligible. And then
I'm not sure what that presentation was, the Australian guy, but if we go back and pull that source, I mean, he presented, I think we were all in consensus on that matter.
Like just do warnings.
There's
They handled all of the budget and everything. Yeah.
And it was
there's firms that facilitate it. That's
I'm saying this specific one came in, we did the presentation, we were in agreement, and it had the solution for what you're talking about in regards to coordination with the Eagle County Sheriff's Department.
Right after that guy gave his presentation, he was bragging about doing Morrison. They did away with that the very next day he was here. Morrison fired him.
Well, either way, yeah, it was an issue then, it's an issue now, it'll be an issue tomorrow.
any other follow-up from staff, for staff?
Great report.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
anything else you want to discuss?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Oh, one thing I did want to comment on was the looking at a pedestrian crossing at Grouse Creek Trail. And we have a bus stop right on the other side, so I'm wondering if we do make any progress along that line, it'd be good to kind of go a little bit down the road and be right there at the bus stop. I think that'd be a good idea. But anyway, so
Yeah, that was brought up at the last meeting.
okay.
That'll be a long-term one.
Okay.
Anything with CDOT, long-term.
Yeah.
Big money.
And then in the public works report, Mike mentions water plant and drainage work. A drainage ditch at the water plant was cleared following a blockage from beaver activity. And that kind of, my understanding is you cannot legally bother the beavers. You can't tear down their dams or anything like that. Maybe it was just that I'm chopping down the trees into the ditch. I don't know, but you need to be careful about that.
Okay.
You have to get a licensed trapper to go out and move them. Now, let's see. Okay, next we're off to business items. First item is resolution number 52, series 2025. A resolution adopting the Minturn Downtown Development Authority Plan of Development. Sandy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a reminder, Town Council reviewed and discussed the proposed plan of development at the last meeting on December 3rd. So this resolution is essentially just the final step, officially adopting the plan of development. And there were no changes recommended when this came forth as a discussion item. So it should be pretty straightforward, but I'm certainly happy to take any questions.
Anybody got questions for Cindy? Oh, well, yeah, there was, yeah. So there's no question. So we have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 52, series 2025, a resolution of the town of Minturn Town Council adopting the Minturn Downtown Development Authority Plan of Development.
I'll second that.
Motion by Eric, second by Dusty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? By golly, we got a DDA. Woo. Okay, next item is the Malloy Park exemption, Track A, Eagle County School District subdivision, preliminary plat, and request for continuance.
So when the public notice for the Malloy Park preliminary plat went out, we dual notice for the Planning Commission meeting of December 10th and pending the review in one night and recommendation. Following that, the review at council tonight of December 17th. Per some unexpected information that we got on the packet day of the planning commission meeting, we ended up having to push that meeting to January 14th. And so in trying to keep with the public notice alive for both of the boards, we are requesting a continuance to January 21st. Obviously pending planning commission make a decision in one night. So Tom Braun is, he was online about 30 minutes ago. I don't know if he still is. If you have any questions.
Tom, are you still there?
Yes, Earl, I am. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Glad to know we're getting into the town processes. Sorry for the delay, but looking forward to seeing what you got to present. And just had a question for you. Are y'all, assuming our process is approved of everything you're doing, are y'all thinking about beginning construction next year?
Our hope that if everything goes well here over the next couple of months, that come midsummer or so, we could go in and do the site work, roads, water, sewer lines, drainage, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And so we're teed up and ready to go vertical in spring of 2027.
Well, we'll be happy to have some more teachers in town. That's
Absolutely.
yeah. Anything else you wanted to talk to us about? You got to stay away from details until planning go approved.
I would suspect we want to stay away from the detail until we go through planning commission, but we're looking forward to chatting with you guys real soon.
Okay. Thank you, Tom, for zooming in.
My pleasure.
Hey, take care. Okay. So do we have a motion for a continuance?
I'll make the motion for a continuance on Malloy Park for the planning commission meeting on January 14th and council meeting on January 21st.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dusty, second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
There's Troy. Okay,
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
good.
Good.
Okay, so that's our discussion item is on the water treatment plant financing levels. And make any headway?
Yes, sir. Certainly on closing some loops of information. As I indicated to you all when I last visited with you, there was a potential for more information being finalized early next year. So I think some of the principal items that I came across was the biggest one is the first year of principal. So between the two options, we talked about the Power Development Authority loan, that is the SRF, the State Revolving Fund. And we talked about a direct lending arrangement. And I mentioned this concept of being able to delay principal, maybe perhaps only a year, in order to kind of ease the rate increases, is one strategy for that approach. The Power Development Authority, I did confirm, does not allow us to defer any principal payments. So if that's a factor, I certainly think it is one in regards to 2026 and what that first payment of debt service might look like. And I haven't changed the rates because the rates are have bounced around since I last visited with you. They've really been a little bit volatile. So again, there's a slightly higher borrowing cost for the private placement option or direct lending option. And for me, looking at the cash flows and the impacts to rate payers, the gap still remains quite narrow between the two options. Because the Power Development Authority loan does not allow you to push principal a year, that means you're amortizing principal a little faster. So because of that, the Power Development Authority loan option actually results in a higher impact to rate users in 26, but it actually dips a little below what the bank option is years after. So because the authority does not allow you to defer principal, the total interest cost is a little lower, and therefore the monthly impact is a little lower. So right now, the two options continue to be very neck and neck. And I've done a lot of thinking and ruminated on this topic. And I still believe very strongly in our approach that we would apply to the Power Development Authority on January 5th. And then following probably early February, that'll give me an opportunity to pick up the phone, call the authority, say, hey, the town's application is in the queue, it's in process. I'd like an indicative debt service schedule from the authority. And then I would go out and solicit responses from banks. And then I would provide you a comparative analysis. And so by mid-February, maybe late February, we would be making a final decision on one of the two options. If you recall, this really, what it does is it gives us options without costing us anything, okay? And I think that's really important to remember. You're applying to the Power Development Authority, which I've already kind of recognized typically provides the lowest cost of borrowing available, with a little less flexibility with prepayment and refinancing. Okay, so we apply for that, but we're checking ourselves and checking our options in the bank placement market in February. And if the deal's better at that point for the bank option, then we go with the bank option. But if the Power Development Authority option is the best at that time, then we see that application process out, right? And that's ultimately what I continue to recommend at this point. We have a lot of the information available to us, not everything. And that's okay at this point because we're kind of going on a dual track process here, whereby we apply for the authority loan and we put our feet in the water for the bank placement market. And I can make a final recommendation at that point because there's no penalty to remove your application from consideration. So, I was just going to wrap up. Though that was the biggest real finding I had, but I certainly feel good about the path we're going on, and I'm happy to address any questions or comments.
And when you do this in the future, you'll also give us information about the impact of the private
placement
in terms of their ability to change the interest rate in future date to match market.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment. Thank you for that. No, I would presume to lock in as long-term financing as available. For me, interest rate changes or what we call rate resets, I don't like those because those are hard to predict and plan for. So with the bank option, I'll be looking for that long-term fixed financing.
Thank you.
Troy, I've got, if council will be patient with me, I got several questions I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Under your preliminary comparison analysis.
Yes, sir.
Project amount, you have under notes, you have likely some premium, talking about the PDA.
Yep.
And it's greater than 6% and less than 12%. Now,
yes, sir.
That is not interest we're talking about, right?
No, sir. Okay, that's a great question. So I mentioned in my previous meeting with you all that I did some research on the impacts of the impacts to the project cost going with the Power Development Authority. Okay, when we enter into a loan with the Power Development Authority, that sometimes and most oftentimes, particularly with the leveraged loan program, triggers certain requirements for the project. Okay, that includes BABA, Buy America, Build America, and Davis Bacon. Okay. And so I did ask some additional questions related to those costs, Mayor, and I still feel comfortable with my current assumption, and that is that between Build America, Buy America, and Davis Bacon, on a project total basis, I've determined that that should be about an 8% impact, okay, to the construction cost. So that's why in that comparative analysis, the bank placement option shows 12 million, right? That's our base assumption. But the Power Development Authority option actually shows a higher number. That number is 12 million times 1 plus 8%. So I'm inflating the cost of the project for the Power Development Authority loan. And based on my follow-up inquiries, I still feel good about my assumption of 8%. Now, in my follow-up inquiries, it was recognized that certain parts of the project can be impacted at a much higher level in terms of increased costs, and that's electrical and mechanical. And so where BABA and Davis Bacon costs can be particularly high, those premiums, that upper cost for those standards can be much higher than 8%. But as a project overall, I felt it was appropriate that 8% is in that middle range based on my research and my follow-up inquiries.
And just one comment on that, and I mentioned this to Troy earlier this week because I meet with Jared from HDR every 2 weeks on Tuesday morning, and we haven't had extensive discussions with Jared yet about going to bid. But one of the things he said is, if you guys are considering private financing, that HDR would like to know as soon as possible, because it takes a lot of complexity out of the bid process. There's a lot of things the contractor doesn't have to track, they don't have to consider. But I haven't been able to have more discussions as far as like the impact, but I think Troy's math is it could be anywhere in that percentage range.
Yeah.
But it does add a lot of complexity.
Yeah, going SRF adds a lot of
For the contractor, yes, to track and report that
Correct.
information.
Thanks, Troy. Next on your notes on final maturity, with the direct bank loan.
Yeah.
It's up to 20 years, but you
Yes,
said
sir.
10 years, you have to reset, right?
Well, so you're going to have the option to reset.
Oh, okay.
So it's
you go
not
for
a
20 years. Okay.
yeah.
Now-
So yeah. Okay.
okay.
Let me address
So-
that question. So banks, that is, and I've been open about it. That is a limiting factor, right? Banks are happy to go 30 years for your traditional residential mortgage. But when it comes to public finance lending, they typically go no farther than 20 or 25 years on the repayment term, okay? And so, yes, that's a factor. That means the annual payments will be slightly higher, okay, in the bank option. But the fact that you might have slightly higher annual payments in the bank option because of that shorter final maturity, it's really close to the Power Development Authority option that offers a longer final maturity, but at a higher construction cost. So the plan with the bank option is, yes, that we would do a 20-year bank placement with the option to refinance out within 10 years. So in fact, with the bank option, you should be able to have the ability to refinance as early as 3 to 5 years. And so if rates are attractive after year 3 with the bank loan process, we will have approximately 13, no less than maybe 7 years to refinance for that total 30-year period. So For example, we do a bank loan, it goes great, we're puddling along, and in year 6, rates take a dip, and we can get, what would that be? 24-year financing, permanent financing. So what my goal is with the bank placement is that your final maturity will never exceed 30 years. But yes, we'll have to refinance at one point before that 20th year for another 10 years, if that makes sense.
So under your analysis, when you're comparing the interest, 4.5 million for the public financing, and 5 million for the bank loan. The 4.5 million is for the over the 30-year period of time. The 5 million is just for the 20 years. So if we refinance, any interest would be on top of that. Am I right?
Correct. So this total interest paid through the first 10 years assumes we do no refinancing, right? And the other reason why the interest is a little higher with the bank loan option, I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth revisiting. I'm assuming you're not paying principal in that first year under the bank loan option. And so, as I told you, as you kind of push out principal, your interest costs go up just a little bit. And so that's what you're seeing there. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, so I think
Okay.
just to summarize, what you're saying is it's 4.5 for a 30-year loan public, and it's 5 million for plus 10 years more interest on a refinanced amount for the private bank loan, assuming that we still need the 30 years.
Correct. Yes, but if I may, am I allowed to share my screen?
It's up.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
that's me sharing, but you do have sharing capabilities, Troy, if you want.
Okay. I just want to share exactly because I think this is a good question, and I just want to make sure that everyone understands it and that I'm addressing the question appropriately. Okay. So let me share. Sharing is not turned on. I'm sending a request.
Approved.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Well, while I was in the middle of going through that table, I have just one more question on that table.
Sure.
Then
Sure.
later, now we'll just deal with that.
Okay.
On the COI line item.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
I understand it, but I had one question. So it says provides a subsidy for COI bank options since it has to be paid twice because of the refinance or whatever we do. Is the way I understood it. But why? But with PDA, they're only doing it one time. Why did we pay $47,627 if they're putting that a subsidy on it?
Yeah. Okay. This goes into me helping, hopefully addressing both questions. Okay. So I'm assuming right now that your bank placement option, okay, I'm assuming we're going to refinance it before 10 years, okay, because something like 80% of municipal bonds are refinanced by their call date. So there's very strong historical context that once rates are low enough, you refinance, okay? And so these payments, though, are based on a 20-year repayment, okay, to the trustee's previous comment. So right here, I'm only adding the interest that you paid throughout that 10 years. You will still have payments going to 2045. This just shows that we're going to refinance, right? And so that's why you have two costs of issuance for the bank loan option, because you're going to do your initial bank loan It's going to have a 20-year maturity on it, but you're most likely going to pay that off in 10 years. And so what I've assumed is that you pay that off in 10 years and you refinance it over the remaining 20 years. Now, to go to the previous counselor's comment, okay, here's the debt service for the Power Development Authority loan. I literally just took the first 10 years of interest only paid. Now, the nuance that I think the trustee touched on is the annual interest you pay under the Power Development Authority loan is based on a 30-year schedule, whereas the first 10 years of interest you pay under the bank loan is based on a 20-year repayment schedule. So that's why those amounts differ, and that's why you're paying, or I'm projecting at this point that you're paying cost of issuance twice, okay? Now, the cost of issuance subsidy is another item I need to confirm. Can you all hear me?
Troy, we just had a power surge.
Oh,
So I am troubleshooting right now.
okay.
My Zoom is still up, but it sounds like the council lost everything downstairs, so stand by for a moment.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have backup, but I'm not
Okay.
quite sure what our next step is. One moment.
All good, Cindy. Okay, that's a first.